Okay. Good morning to all. Today I am going to discuss about the anticholinergic drugs. Okay. Mainly in this topic, I am going to explain about what is the introduction of anticholinergic drugs and the classification of anticholinergic drugs, mechanism of action of anticholinergic drugs and pharmacological action and individual drugs actions and therapeutic uses, contraindications and interactions and pharmacokinetics of anticholinergic drugs. And finally, the summary of anticholinergic drugs. Okay. And first thing is, what is anticholinergic drugs? Okay. So anticholinergic drugs, also known as parasympatholytics. Okay. And because of these drugs are mainly inhibiting the cholinergic-like actions. Okay, cholinergic system is also known as parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, here these anticholinergic drugs are mainly inhibiting the actions of what acetylcholine at muscarinic receptors and nicotinic receptors, because acetylcholine is binds with two kinds of receptors, that is muscarinic receptors and nicotinic receptors. Okay, muscarinic receptors are again divided to 5 types. Okay, that is M1, M2, M3, M4, M5. Okay, M1 receptors is mainly present in gastric glands and autonomic ganglion. Okay, and M2 receptors are mainly present in heart, cardiac muscles, and M3 receptors are mainly present in smooth muscles. Okay, and nicotine receptors are two types, NM and NN type. NM type, muscarinic type of nicotinic receptors. So this kind of receptors is mainly present in neuromuscular junction. Okay, and NN type, nicotinic type of nicotinic receptors. These receptors are mainly present in what autonomic ganglion. Okay, here our anticholinergic drugs are inhibiting the actions of acetylcholine at muscarinic receptors and nicotinic receptors, but atropine it is a anticholinergic drug. It's a prototype of anticholinergic drug. Okay, so this drug and other related atropine drugs having less anti-nicotinic effects, and because of atropine, it is highly active against the muscarinic receptors. Okay, so that's why it is also called as anti-muscarinic drugs or muscarinic receptor antagonist. Okay, so anti-nicotine drugs is also there. So anti-nicotine drugs, especially NN receptor blockers, means nicotine type of nicotinic receptors. Okay, so also known as ganglionic blockers, because of nicotine type of nicotinic receptors is present in especially ganglion, that is autonomic ganglion. So that's why it is called as ganglionic blockers. Okay, here anti-nicotine drugs examples is trimethophan, hexamethonium, and pendolonium, and tetraethyl ammonium. Okay, so these are the examples of anti-nicotinic drugs, also known as ganglionic blockers. And next thing is muscarinic type of nicotinic receptors blocker. Okay, NM receptor blockers, also known as neuromuscular blocking agents. So this NM receptors is mainly located at the neuromuscular junction. Okay, so here this NM receptor blockers, okay, this NM receptor blockers, also known as NM neuromuscular blocking drugs, also known as skeletal muscle relaxants. Okay, examples is D-tubacurarine, pancuronium, and etracurium. Okay, so this neuromuscular blocking agents and anti-nicotine drugs. In further classes, we will discuss individual pharmacological actions and mechanism of action and kinetics and drug interactions of these drugs in further classes, anti-nicotinic and neuromuscular drugs, neuromuscular blocking drugs. Okay, so these drugs we will discuss in further classes. So today I am going to discuss about anti-muscarinic drugs. Okay, so especially atropine. Okay, atropine, it is a highly active against the what muscarinic receptors. Okay, atropine, it is a highly active agonist. What kind of receptors? That is muscarinic receptors. Here, the classification of anti-muscarinic drugs, they are divided to mainly three categories. That is natural alkaloids, semi-synthetic derivatives, and synthetic compounds. Okay, so the natural alkaloids examples is atropine and hyoscine. Okay, and semi-synthetic derivatives examples is atropine methonitrate, okay, and homatropine, and hyoscine butyl bromide, and ipratropium bromide, and tiotropium bromide. Okay, these are the semi-synthetic derivatives. These are the purely natural alkaloids. Okay, and the synthetic compounds is divided to four major categories. So the first category is mydriatics. Mydriatics examples is cyclopentolate and tropicamide. Okay, and vasoselective drugs examples is oxybutynin and tolidone and flavoxate and dariphenazine and sulfinazine and tropizium. Okay, and anti-Parkinson drugs example is trihexyphenidyl and procyclidine and piperidine and benztropine. Okay, and fourth category is anti-secretory antispasmodic drugs. So anti-secretory antispasmodic drugs are divided to two categories, that is quaternary compounds and tertiary amines. So quaternary compounds examples is propantholin, oxyphenonium, clinadium, and glycopyrrolate. Okay, and tertiary amines examples dicyclamine and valithamate and pyrazapine. Okay, so these are the classification. Okay, these are the major three categories is there: natural alkaloid, semi-synthetic, and synthetic. In synthetics, again four major categories is there. Okay, so here I will discuss one by one. First thing is natural alkaloids. Okay, in this natural alkaloids examples is atropine, hyoscine. Okay, so in anticholinergic drugs, the prototype of drug is what? Atropine. Okay, so atropine, it is a natural alkaloid. It is obtained from Atropa belladonna. Okay, and it is obtained from Datura stramonium. Okay, and scopolamine is obtained from the Hyoscyamus niger. Okay, Hyoscyamus niger. Okay, and chemically both atropine and scopolamine both are organic esters. Okay, chemically these two alkaloids are similar chemically, but there is a slight differences is there in between atropine and hyoscine. So what is the differences? So the source of atropine is different and the source of hyoscine is different. Atropine is obtained from Atropa belladonna. Hyoscine is obtained from Hyoscyamus niger. Okay, and the CNF atropine effect on CNS is excitatory effect, the stimulant effect, but hyoscine effect on CNS is depressant effect. Okay, and atropine having very potent effect on which organs, that is heart, bronchial muscle, and intestine. But hyoscine, okay, so hyoscine effect on which organs, that is eyes and secretory glands. Okay, only two organs, two targets only, and the duration of atropine is very longer. Okay, but the duration of hyoscine is very shorter. Okay, the duration of action is very less, and the anti-motion sickness property is somewhat less than hyoscine. Okay, both atropine and hyoscine, both drugs having anti-motion sickness property, but that property is somewhat less for atropine, and the anti-motion sickness property is very high for what? Hyoscine. Okay, here 3 plus symbols is there, here 2 plus symbols is there. Okay, means the anti-motion sickness property is somewhat less than hyoscine. Okay, next one is, what is the mechanism of action of atropine? Okay, anticholinergic drugs. Okay, so mainly these anti-muscarinic drugs, okay, nothing but atropine, is prevents the binding of acetylcholine. by blocking its binding to muscarinic receptors. Okay, so that receptors is mainly present on effector cells. Okay, it particularly sympathetic and neuroeffector junctions and in peripheral ganglia and CNS. Okay, so mainly that receptors will be located in effector cells. The cells that effector cells is mainly at sympathetic and neuroeffector junction and peripheral organs and in CNS. So here mainly anti-muscarinic drugs are prevents the effects of acetylcholine. How it will prevent the effects of acetylcholine? Because of anti-muscarinic drugs are prevents the binding of acetylcholine with what? Muscarinic receptors. Nothing but it shows the what kind of antagonism, that is competitive antagonism. So what is competitive antagonism? Okay, means what? So here the competitive antagonistic. Okay, so that competitive antagonist, that is called as atropine. Okay, so first that atropine, it is bind to the same site as the agonist. Okay, but it does not activate it, but that does the blocks the actions of what? Acetylcholine. So that is called as competitive antagonism. Means what? The competitive antagonist is binds to the same site as the agonist, but it does not activate it. Okay, thus block the actions of what? Agonist. That is called as competitive antagonism. So atropine shows the competitive antagonism. Okay, so simply it blocks the actions of acetylcholine. So it blocks the actions of muscarinic receptors. Okay, and it blocks the binding of acetylcholine with muscarinic receptors. Okay, that is the mechanism of action of what? Atropine. And next thing is pharmacological actions of atropine. Okay, so the overall effect of atropine on CNS is stimulant effect. Okay, but at the low dose of the drug, okay, at the low dose of atropine drug having only peripheral effects. Only what kind of effects? Peripheral effects, and the minimal stimulant effect on CNS because of the low dose. Because of that low dose, the CNS stimulant effect is very less, and it can show the what kind of activity? Peripheral effect. Okay, and the scopolamine having what kind of activity? Depressant, non-stimulant. Okay, the depressant, that is scopolamine is nothing but hyoscine. Okay, so and effects is amnesia. Amnesia means loss of memory and drowsiness. Okay, and atropine here it stimulates the three kinds of medullary centers. So what kind of the three medullary centers? That is vagal center, respiratory center, and vasomotor center. So these three centers it will be stimulated by atropine. Okay, and the next thing is atropine, it depresses the vestibular excitation. So what is vestibular excitation? Okay, so when we are in traveling, okay, so when we are in traveling, in that time there is an activation of vestibular system. Okay, so what is vestibular system? So that system it will be located in inner ear. Okay, so in that what is the main function of that vestibular system? It is present in inner ear. So the main function of this vestibular system is it provides the sense of balance. Okay, and it provides the information about the body position also. Okay, in the response to external generated forces. Okay, that is the function of what? Vestibular system. Okay, so but when we are in traveling, okay, in that cases the vestibular system it will be excited. Okay, as a result of excitation, okay, as a result of excitation, then what will happen? There is a motion sickness, it will be happens. What is motion sickness? Motion sickness is nothing but it is a one kind of illness. Okay, so that illness is caused by motion. Okay, so that kind of illness is mainly occurs during the what? Travel. Okay, so the symptoms of motion sickness is dizziness, vomiting, and what? Uneasiness. Okay, this is symptoms of motion sickness. So here our drug that is atropine. Atropine drug is depress the vestibular excitation. So as a result of depression of vestibular excitation, there is a anti-motion sickness property. It will be happens. Okay, there is the motion sickness property. It will motion sickness symptoms. It will be reduced. Okay, the motion sickness symptoms, it will be reduced because of the depression of what? Vestibular excitation. Okay, so vestibular excitation is commonly occurs in during the travel. Okay, so that excitation, it will be depressed by what? Atropine. Okay, and one more thing is atropine. It blocks the cholinergic activity. It blocks the cholinergic overactivity in basal ganglia. Okay, so what is basal ganglia first? Okay, so basal ganglia is nothing but these are the group of structures. Okay, so these structures, it will be linked to the thalamus. Okay, so in the base of brain. Okay, and it is mainly involved in the coordination of body movements. What is basal ganglia? Basal ganglia, it is mainly involved in the coordination of body movements. Okay, but here the atropine drug is blocks the what kind of activity? Cholinergic overactivity in basal ganglia. Okay, so then what will happen? There is a loss of coordination of body movements. So that's why there is a block of what? Tremors and rigidity. Okay, there is a tremors and rigidity, it will be blocked. And what is the Parkinsonism? The major symptoms of Parkinsonism is tremors, rigidity, and bradykinesia. So that kind of symptoms, it will be blocked by atropine. Okay, so normally basal ganglia, it is involved in body movements. There is it control our body movements. Okay, so here as a result of blockade of cholinergic overactivity in basal ganglia, there is a blockade of tremors and rigidity. Okay, next thing is pharmacological actions of atropine, action on cardiovascular system. Okay, so here the low dose of atropine. Okay, so the low dose of atropine, it causes a bradycardia. Okay, so why low dose of atropine causes a bradycardia? Because of the low dose of atropine, it blocked the presynaptic M1 receptors. Okay, so the presynaptic M1 receptors, these receptors is present on vagal nerve endings. So actually the presynaptic M1 receptor function is depolarization effect. Okay, the depolarization effect is caused by activation of presynaptic M1 receptors. But here that atropine drug is block the presynaptic M1 receptors. Okay, so as a result of blockade of presynaptic M1 receptors, there is a bradycardia, it will be happens. Okay, only in the response to low dose of atropine. Okay, but at moderate to higher doses of atropine, it causes the tachycardia. Okay, here the dose is different. Okay, but moderate to higher dose of this atropine is causes the tachycardia. So why it causes the tachycardia? Due to blockade of M2 receptors. Okay, the heart muscle consists of, the cardiac muscles consist of mainly M2 receptors. So actually M2 receptor function on heart is hyperpolarization. Okay, so the hyperpolarization, M2 receptor action on heart. Okay, so here as a result of blockade of M2 receptors in heart, then what will happen? There is a tachycardia is occurs. Okay, so there is a hyperpolarization effect will be suppressed. Okay, the total M2 receptor functions, it will be suppressed. Okay, so that's why the moderate to higher doses of this atropine, it causes the tachycardia due to blockade of M2 receptors in heart. And there is a SA node and AV node conduction is also increases. Okay, and there is a PR interval is also decreases. Okay, due to tachycardia, due to heart contractility effect, then what will happen? There is a slight changes in ECG also. So here the P and R interval, it will be not increases. The P and R interval, it will be decreases. Okay, the length in between P wave and R wave, it will be decreases. Okay, and next one is smooth muscles, effect on smooth muscles. Okay, so what atropine drug effect on smooth muscles? All visceral smooth muscles consist of what kind of receptors? That is M3 receptors. Okay, so here atropine drug is blocks the M3 receptors. So then what will happen? The tone and amplitude of contraction of stomach and intestine is, it will be reduced. Okay, so the contraction effect on GIT, it will be reduced, and the GA motility is also reduced. So the GA motility is reduced means there is a passage of chyme in intestine is also reduced. So then what will happen? The chyme passage is reduced means there is a constipation, it will be occurs. Sometimes the spasms, it will be also relieved. Okay, and bronchodilation. Okay, so bronchial muscles consist of M3 receptors. Okay, so here atropine is causes the what? Bronchodilation. Okay, and it reduces the airway resistance. Okay, it reduces the what? Airway resistance, especially in COPD and asthma patient. Okay, and atropine has the relaxant effect on ureters. Okay, because of that M3 receptors is also located in ureters and urinary bladder. Okay, as a result of blockade of M3 receptors. Okay, normally M3 receptor action on GIT is what? The motility is increases. Okay, action on bronchial muscles is bronchoconstriction normally. M3 receptor functions. Okay, and M3 receptor function on ureters and urinary bladder is contraction effect. Okay, but here atropine is what? It blocks what kind of receptors? M3 receptors. It blocks the M3 receptors. As a result of blockade of M3 receptors, then what will happen? There is a the contractions of GIT is reduces, nothing but GI motility is decreases, the constipation is occurs. Okay, bronchodilation is happens, and the relaxant effect will be shown on ureters and urinary bladder. Okay, and next thing is atropine effect on glands. Okay, so glands also consist of what kind of receptors? M3. Okay, so here all gland secretions, it will be decreases except milk and pancreatic secretion and bile also. Okay, so here decreases the salivary gland secretions, sweat gland secretion, tracheobronchial and lacrimal secretions, all secretions, it will be decreases. As a result of decreasing of these secretions, then what will happen? There is a dryness of mouth. Why dryness of mouth? Due to lack of saliva. Okay, and dry skin. Why dry skin? Due to lack of secretion of sweat. And conjunctiva, dry conjunctiva, and difficulty in talking and swallowing. Why difficulty in talking and swallowing? Because of there is a deficiency in the production of what? Saliva from the salivary glands. And the stomach, the gastric glands consist of what kind of receptors? M1 receptors. Here that M1 receptors is blocked by what? Atropine. Okay, here atropine is blocks the M3 kind of receptors and M1 receptors. M1 receptors is present in gastric glands. Okay, so then what will happen? That acid secretion and pepsin secretions are, it will be decreases. Gastric gland secretions, it will be decreases. The volume of gastric acid production is decreases. Then what will happen? The pH of gastric contents, it may be increases even though in empty stomach. So in empty stomach, the fasting gastric juice pH is also increases. Actually, fasting gas juice pH is less. Okay, the pH is very less, but this atropine is causes the what the pH it will be increases even though in fasting gastric juices. Okay, so the fasting gas juices the pH is very less. Okay, normally, but in the response to atropine, the fasting gas juices pH is also increases. And there is no effect on intestinal secretion. There is no effect on pancreatic secretion, and there is no effect on bile production also. And next thing is atropine effect on eye. Okay, so here upon the topical administration, okay, upon the topical administration of atropine, there is a two kinds of effects it will be produced. Okay, so that is paralysis of constrictory pupil. Okay, then it's due to blockade of M3 receptors. Eye also consists of M3 receptors. So due to blockade of M3 receptors, there is a paralysis of constrictor pupil. Okay, here there is a, it may lead to what? Pasomydriasis. Then paralysis of ciliary muscles. Okay, so as a result of what paralysis of ciliary muscles, there is a what will happen? The cyclopelgia it will be happens. Cyclopelgia means what? The loss of near vision. So there is a loss of near vision is nothing but what? The pupil, there is a loss of near vision is nothing but here there is a loss of accommodation. So what is loss of accommodation? Means the eye is, it is accommodated the close vision by tightening of ciliary muscles. By tightening of ciliary muscle, the eye, it will be accommodates the close vision. Okay, so then here what will happen as a result of paralysis of ciliary muscles? There is a loss of accommodation. Then what will happen? There is a loss of near vision. There is a loss of photophobia. There is a photophobia. It will be occurs. There is a intraocular tension. It is also increases. Here there is a two things is happens. That is mydriasis. Mydriasis is nothing but there is a dilation of pupil. Okay, not contraction. There is a dilation of pupil. So then what will happen? The light reflex is also decreases. Okay, see here the atropine action on eye upon the topical administration is as a result of blockade of M3 receptors. There is a two actions it will be produced, that is paralysis of constrictory pupillae and paralysis of ciliary muscles. So as a result of these two things, there is a mydriasis is happen, that is pasomydriasis happens, that is constriction of dilation of pupil, not constriction, the dilation of pupil, and that is next one is cyclopelgia. Cyclopelgia means what? Loss of near vision because of loss of accommodation. What is loss of what is accommodation? The eye, it will be accommodate the close vision. Okay, by tightening of ciliary muscles. But here, as a result of paralysis of ciliary muscles, the eye is unable to accommodate close vision, okay, by ciliary muscles. So that's why the cyclopelgia it will be happens. Next, pharmacological actions of atropine on continuation thing, effect on temperature. So the body temperature, it will be increases. Why the temperature is increases? Because of the Schwegelin secretions, it will be decreases. And there is a stimulation of thermoregulatory center, nothing but temperature regulatory center. So the thermoregulatory center is present in hypothalamus. So here atropine is stimulate the thermoregulatory centers. Okay, thermoregulatory center, the center which is present in hypothalamus. So as a result of this stimulation of thermoregulatory center, the body temperature is increases. And one more reason is the Schwegelin secretion is also decreases. And effect local anesthetic action. Okay, atropine having the mild anesthetic action, the mild localized anesthetic action on cornea. Okay, so these are the pharmacological actions of what? Atropine. And the sensitivity of different organs and tissue to atropine is different. Okay, the sensitivities of organs to atropine is different. It can be graded as, so that is for saliva, sweat glands, and bronchial secretions. Nothing but atropine. It is highly sensitive to what? Salivary glands. Highly sensitive to sweat glands. Highly sensitive to what? Bronchial glands. Okay, and the second grade is eye and bronchial muscle and cardiac muscle. Okay, and next sensitivity organ, smooth muscle of intestine and bladder. And fourth thing is gastric glands and smooth muscles. But the first says all glands, that is bronchial, sweat glands, and salivary glands. So the glands are highly sensitive to what? Atropine. Next thing is bronchial muscles and the smooth muscles which are present in eye. Okay, and third thing is the smooth muscles which are present in intestine and bladder. Okay, and fourth thing is the gastric glands and other smooth muscles. Okay, and these are the pharmacological actions of atropine. And next class we will discuss about pharmacokinetics of atropine and contraindications and other drugs. Also we will discuss other pharmacological actions of other anticholinergic drugs. Okay.